All right, Panther fans, fear not. I know there's no hockey. We got the All-Star Skills Competition tonight. We got the All-Star Game tomorrow. I might be able to live stream the Skills Competition. I was planning on it, but I've got a last-minute client that I may need to work with, so that would kind of stop that. But definitely live streaming the All-Star Game tomorrow. Now, purposes of this video, I just wanted to do a mid-season, and I know we played a few more than the middle, but it's close enough. Mid-season grades, review, just talk about the players, coach, where I think everybody stands, and what I think, our pluses and minuses are. So, let's get started, because there's a lot. I'm going to go over just about everybody I can here, till my eyes are blind or till you guys are sick of listening. So, first thing off the bat, Jonathan Heurel. There's nothing to say. That's an A+. 17 goals, 47 assists, 64 points. He's a plus 19. His average time on ice is 19:11. For years, 4 years, we have all, myself especially, bitched and complained about we just wanted Huberdeau to play with that edge all the time. Just find whatever that is and keep it. Well, A+. A+. That's all we can say. The kid is absolutely playing out of his mind. He leads the NHL in points, and he's earned it. And the biggest difference, two big differences. He's shooting a lot more, and the PK. I think taking on the extra responsibility of killing penalties, while you would think it might wear him out, I think it's getting him more engaged in the aggressive side of the game. That's my take anyway. And his time on ice, average time on ice is 19:11. That's not bad. That's not going to wear him out when you consider he's killing penalties. That's actually pretty good. So Huberdeau A+, no questions. Next up, Sam Reinhart. 16 goals, 28 assists, 44 total points, plus minus 18, and time on ice is 17:27. Now, Reinhart did not, he came with some expectations, right? Because we get him out of nowhere, like, 25 goals with Buffalo last year. This kid's going to blow up, right? And then we tried him out on the top line the first, 3-4 games. Did he even get 3 or 4 games? I think he got 2 games in a period, actually. It didn't work out. Moved him down. He's kind of bounced all over. And now he's on that third line with Lundell and Marchman especially. And he has just finally taken off and taken his game to the next level like we expected it. I'm going to go ahead and give him a B. I would almost give him a B-, but I'm going to take the minus away because he's bounced around the line so much. I think that if at that time, if Q had given him a little bit more time to get some chemistry up top with Barkhoff, that might have worked out. So we'll just give him. He's been good. He's been good. He wasn't as good as advertised when he came in, but he himself said, "Hey, look, it's a new team, new system. He's just finding his game." And he's done that. So I like what I see there. Next on the list is Aaron Ekblad, 10 goals, 31 assists, 41 points. Amazingly, he's on the ice all that time with a plus minus of 29, and his average ice time is 25 minutes and 17 seconds. That is too much. That is too much. I'm going to give Ekblad a C. I'm going to give Ekblad a C because we've seen him play better defensively. Offensively, he's doing what you would expect. He's doing his normal thing. He made some changes. He's still out there technically running the power play, but instead of taking shots, like Stu said, he's passing it off to Huberdeau, which I'm good with. But he still has a tendency to get caught defensively when he's pinching too much, especially when he's paired, obviously, with Wieger. I think Ekblad can play. I think we'd be better served, obviously, splitting those two up so that he can do more of his offensive stuff and he's not so worried and so responsible for the defensive end of things. We've seen him go through times like last season where he focused more on the defense, and he can play defense if he's focusing that way, but right now his focus is offense, understandably. So I'm going to give him a C. I think he's having an average Ekblad season. I think he's doing what Ekblad does. So that may still make him a very good player, but in terms of what he can do on the ice, he hasn't really done anything worse or done anything better. He's kind of been the same. Barkhoff is next. Now remember, Barkhoff has only played 34 games. He's got 21 goals, 19 assists, 40 points. He's got a plus 17, and his time on ice is 20 minutes and 5 seconds. So again, that's a lot better than I think it's been in the past. I think in the past it's been more like 23, 24 minutes, him and Heurel. In terms of Barkhoff's play, I think we'll just give him a B. He's been good. He's been good. Has he been spectacular out of his mind like Heurel? No. And maybe my grades are a little bit tough, but I'm basing them on what that player is capable of on an individual basis. I think Barkhoff can be better. He's been hurt, and he does have a tendency, when he comes back from being hurt, he does have a tendency, I think, he must come back too soon. He must come back too early. So maybe I'm being a bit harsh there with the B. I'll give him a B+. Because what tends to happen is the first couple of games when he comes back from injury, he's not really himself. So he must be coming back too soon now that I think about it. So he's only played 34 games. And you figure he was out with 3 different injuries, right? So you figure that's 4 to 6 games where maybe he came back too soon. And he still has 21 goals. So maybe the B was a bit much. B+. I still think he can play better. Not by a long shot. Not that he's playing bad. But I don't. He's gradually, as Heurel is increasing his play, Barkhoff has been doing the same. And maybe it's just we're so used to seeing Barkhoff be so exceptional that it's just, yeah, he's exceptional. What else? You know what I mean? It's kind of been there, done that with Barkhoff in a sense. And maybe he doesn't have another level to get to. That's okay, by the way. That's okay. The difference between Barkhoff and Heurel right now is Heurel has taken another step, and Barkhoff is still just Barkhoff. All right, next up on the list is Carter Verhagen. 15 goals, 22 assists for 37 points. He's a plus-minus of 15, and his average time on ice is 16 minutes and 39 seconds. So you see the difference there. He's on that line with Barkhoff. Barkhoff has about 4 minutes more a game. That's going to be the power play stuff. Verhagen has been solid for what we expected from Carter Verhagen this year. Give him a B+. Good enough. He's one of those guys where he doesn't get a lot of attention, right? He does have a tendency to try to stick handle the puck a little bit too much and not pass as often as maybe he should, but that also may be a product of that top winger spot opposite him. It's Verhagen, Barkhoff, and who knows, right? Every night, or at least on a week-by-week basis, depending on if somebody got hurt or if the coaches want to move things around, sometimes it's Heurel up there. It was Duclair. It was Marchman. Tippett had a game up there. Hell, I think Vetrano might have had a game up there. So the point is he doesn't have a consistent winger on the other side of him to get that chemistry with. So that might be a reason why you see Verhagen pass not so much pass, but stick handle too much a little bit and get the puck stolen, I should say, rather than pass. All right, next on the list is Anthony Duclair. 19 goals, 16 assists with 35 points. He's got a plus-minus of 8. And an average ice time of 15 minutes and 14 seconds, which to me, that's not enough. To me, his ice time should be up there more around the 20-minute mark with Barkhoff. I think he's that kind of player. Now, I'm going to give him an A. I'm going to give him an A because he definitely has improved. It does appear as though there are games, and this may be why his ice time is what it is. It does appear as though there are games when he doesn't quite have the legs. And Duclair's game is completely predicated on his speed. So I can see why his ice time would be a little bit less than somebody else's. And he's been, he does have a tendency also to get those little dings, the little nagging injuries from time to time. But if you watched over the summer, made a video, I did a series of videos of how individual Panther players can improve. And my point with Duclair was he would come in too fast and he would skate past the net. He needed to find a way to use that speed to his advantage, but know when to slow down at the right moment so that he could actually get a shot off. Now, I'm not saying he watched my video and took my advice. Maybe I just had the same idea as his coaches during the summer, because that's exactly what he fixed. He's coming in fast, but then you've seen him at the last second just take the afterburners off just a little bit and do that move where he cuts across the front and the net, and he started getting shots and he's got goals. So whether it's because of my video or his coach had the same idea, that's what he needed to fix. He's fixed it. He gets an A. Oh, next on the list is Anton Lundell, who's going to win the Calder, people. He's going to win the Calder. 10 goals, 22 assists. 10 goals, 22 assists, 32 points. He is a rookie on the third line, and he's a plus 25. And if you're wondering why I'm giving the plus minuses, there's a point to it. So just wait for it, okay? Because I know you're all thinking, we've outscored everybody by 1,000,000 points. Of course everybody's going to have a plus. There's a reason. So, Lundell, 10 goals, 22 assists, 32 points. He's a plus 25, and his ice time is 16:26. So his ice time is actually more than Duclair. Beautiful. Lundell, we're going to give him an A. What's his face-off percentage? Let's see. It's 44%. It's been at 44%. The other center, obviously top center, Barkhoff, is at 55.7. That might be the best he's been. So Lundell is at 44%. But he's a rookie, and he's taking a ton of PK draws as well. You gotta give Lundell an A. I don't want to give him an A plus, only because I want him to keep getting better, right? And he can, and I think he will. He came out of the extended Christmas break. He came out of that like a bat out of hell, because he had some fresh legs, and it's going to happen again after the All-Star game, after the All-Star break. So yeah, I'll give him an A. The plus would be if he could get that face-off percentage closer to 46, 47%. It's late in the season. You're not going to get that thing over 50% at this point. He'd have to have a ridiculous surge. But he's pretty much been at 44% the entire season. If he could up that a couple of percentage points, that would be huge, and that would give him an A plus by the end of the season. But he's got to be he's getting national media attention now. I think it was NHL Network did a thing on him yesterday. He's got to be the front runner for the Calder at this point. I know there's a couple of other guys in Detroit especially, but what this kid is doing is his game is just so complete. It's unheard of what he's doing. And so, yeah, A for him. Let's just get that face-off percentage just a little bit better. Next on the list is Sam Bennett. 21 goals, 9 assists, 30 points, plus minus a 20. Average ice time of 17:28. And his face-off percentage is 47%. So you see, even established center like Bennett, or second center, 47% is not terrible, but you usually want your top two centers to be at 50% or above. So what are we going to give Bennett? Well, I'm going to give him a B minus. Now, number one, the minus is because stop doing stupid things that get you suspended, because the next time it's going to be 5 games. All right? That's number one. He's been everything we've expected him to be. The second line has not been, it has not changed as much as the first line, but there still have been some changes up, who's going to be on that second line every once in a while. I think he's been pretty much stable, consistent to what we expected from last year. He's the perfect fit next to Heurel. Absolutely the perfect fit. I'm surprised by only the 9 assists. That's surprising. And I'm not being critical there. I just would have thought he had more assists because he has had a lot of time with Heurel and Duclair. And Duclair has 19 goals and Heurel has 17 goals. And somehow Sam Bennett only has 9 assists. So that's a little bit surprising. But we'll give him a B-. I know that he's capable of turning it up. And remember, he's a playoff guy, right? He's a guy that's going to take it up another notch in the playoffs. So he's doing a good job. Just stop taking stupid penalties that get you suspended. Next on the list is Mackenzie Wieger. 4 goals, 23 assists for a plus 27. No, excuse me, plus 23. And his time on ice is 23.35 seconds, 23 and a half minutes. Mackenzie Wieger. We got to give him, I'm really going to have to give him a C-. Because first off, if you're going to be consistently being beat as a defenseman because you're trying to be offensive, at least Ekblad has 10 goals. Wieger has 4. So I know it took him a while to score, and that's kind of the point. If you choose, okay? If you're going to be a defensive liability because of your offensive game, you better be on a 20-goal pace for the season, or else let Ekblad go be Bobby Orr, and you stay in the back and play defense. So I'm giving him a C-. He's been not good. He's been not good. Could he improve if he was paired with somebody else? I know somebody thought he played well with Forsling. I know Stu wants Forsling with Ekblad. I don't necessarily disagree with that. To me, we've talked about it over and over again about possibly getting Chychrun or another top 4 defenseman. To me, you don't make a move and give up a lot of assets for defensemen unless the plan is to split up Ekblad and Wieger. Because you could go get somebody. You could go get Chychrun, but if you plop them on the 3rd pair and you leave Ekblad and Wieger alone, we still got the same problem. Unless you're going to diminish their ice time, which could be also, part of the plan, right? Because their ice time, especially Ekblad's, that's just too much. I mean, what's that in 25-17? That's too much. For the type of player that they are. And that's the other thing I was talking about with Stu with Mackenzie Wieger. He's getting tired because he's trying to come into the zone and keep the puck and make these offensive plays, and then he's losing the puck. And then he's having to haul ass the full length of the ice to get back on defense. For the most part, he's catching up with guys, but that expends a lot of energy. And then you see it late in the game. He's fumbling the puck at the blue line. He's losing the puck. He's losing board battles because he's tired. So that whole situation with Ekblad and Wieger, that's going to cost us. That's the one thing that we need to fix for certain. All right, let's take a drink. If you guys are enjoying this, like button. I really appreciate it. All right. Next up is Mason Marchman, who's 10th in scoring. He's got 8 goals, 15 assists, 23 points. He's a plus 21. And his ice time is 13:03, which is way too low. I expect that to lift up. That's not enough ice time. I'm sorry. I'm comparing to some of the other players here that I'm seeing below him. And he definitely, he should be getting at least another couple minutes of ice time, especially the way he's played lately. So I'm gonna give Marchman a B. He's had he had the concussion. I mean, what's he played? 22 games, right? He's played at a point a game. He's played 22 games. He's got 23 points. He needs more than 13 minutes of ice time. So I'm going to give him a B because for a few games he did not look like himself when he came back from the head injury. But since then, he's been kind of on fire. So a B might be a little bit low. Maybe we'll bump him up to a B+. We'll bump him up to a B+. But he needs more ice time. We've got to get this kid more ice time. All right, Forsman, Gustav Forsman. 2 goals, 19 assists, 21 points. He's a +24. And his average ice time is 21-21, which I think for him is just about right. Just a few minutes less than Wieger. I got to give Forsman an A-. And the only reason I'm going to give him a minus is because I'd like to see him score some more goals. Now, he may be scoring fewer goals because, the first pair is kind of not great defensively and he feels a responsibility to come in and kind of settle things down defensively. Okay. He's played well. He's continued to improve. He's certainly our steadiest defenseman. He did get beat the other night, but that's a rarity. For most of the time, the one guy you can count on to not get beat and not lose a guy is Forsman. So I like what he's doing. All right, next up is Brandon Montour with 4 goals, 15 assists, 19 points. He's a +5. His average ice time is 17-27. That's pretty good ice time for a third pairing defenseman. Montour's been solid, a solid B. You very rarely do you see him do something and get himself out of position when he's on the third pair. We saw it in the playoffs last year. We've seen it a couple of times this year. If he's a really good third pairing defenseman, but his play drops off. In my opinion, his play drops off when he's up against top competition. So we'll give him a B. I hope whatever move we make, that's the one spot that I look at and say, leave Montour right where he is. If we're going to get another defenseman and switch pairs around and everything, that's the one guy I want staying right where he is. He's perfectly suited for it. Next up is Patrick Hornqvist. 7 goals, 11 assists, 18 points. He's a +2. And his average ice time is 13 minutes and 17 seconds. That's about right for him. And you notice that's more ice time than Marchman. I assume that's because Hornqvist will be out there in the power play. Now, he's been hurt, but when he's been on the ice for what we need his role to be, I'm going to give him an absolute A+. And that might come as a surprise. For what his role is and what his job is, I cannot imagine him doing it better. I can't imagine getting a player that would do it better. Somehow, what's he, 35? He's 35 years old, and every time he's on the ice, he is speeding around like a Tasmanian devil and causing chaos. I know people have talked about, his cap hit. I talked about it last year. He wasn't playing like this last year. I don't know if he saw Tom Brady's trainer or something during the offseason. Maybe he got in shape, lost some weight. I don't know. But he's been flying around this year, and I want him on this team this year. And I think for what he brings, I know it's a cap. I know 5.3 is a cap hit. I get that. Certainly he needs to stay on his team for this year. We could talk about it for next year. But I don't know who we have. I don't know if we have any young players that are going to bring what he brings. And let's face it, we're in a cup window here with Bob for, and everything. We got a 2 to 3 year hardcore cup window right now. Before then, you start really thinking Bobrovsky might be a little bit too old, is Spencer Knight ready, etc., etc. So I think Hornqvist is worth the money, to be honest with you. Next up, Eetu Luostarinen, huh? All right. 8 goals, 7 assists, 15 points. He's a +1. Average ice time is 13:38. Again, that's just right in line with what a fourth center should be. The knock on Luosterainen, it's come up a little bit. He's been moving that face-off percentage up a little bit. It's 39.1. It was around 36, 37% for a little while there, so that's been improving a little bit. I'm going to give Luosterainen a B. He came out like a bat out of hell. Again, 8 goals. But I think it's 9-10 games straight now without a point. You can afford that from your fourth center, but Noel Acciari is in the minors right now on a rehab assignment. And when we come back from the break, I love Luosterainen, and he is perfect depth player because we can place him anywhere. But I have a feeling if Acciari can play, Acciari is getting his job back. And that's not a knock on Lou, but that face-off percentage, Acciari is generally, what I don't have his statistics. Let me pull up his statistics from last year. I talked about this with Stu, so let's see what's his normal face-off percentage. Last year's face-off percentage was 52%. The year before that, 48. The year before that, just about 50. So that's a big difference, right? That's a pretty big difference. Now I gotta find the statistics page again that I was on. I've lost my mind. There we go. Okay. So the point being is I expect Acciari to get his job back simply for the face-off percentage. That's a bit. 10% is 10%. And when you're up against teams' fourth lines, last few games, in case you guys haven't noticed, the other teams' fourth lines have kind of been playing better against our fourth line. It's not been the same. True that Hornqvist is out. That's fair. But don't immediately assume that Luosterainen, if he loses that job, will just immediately be out of the lineup. Okay? When he played up higher in the lines, he was scoring goals. And we still have to find a guy, and I don't know if he's it, but we still need to find a guy that Barkhoff with Verhagen and this guy. That rotation, I'm telling you, they're going to want to not have that rotation come playoff time. Somebody's got to claim that job. And with the Lundell, Marchman, and Reinhart line, that you're leaving that. That really needs to stay. And Bennett with Heurel and Declare really need. Those are two beautiful lines. What we're missing is that one extra guy up top. Is Luosterainen going to be it? I don't know if he's going to be it, but everybody else has had a chance. So, All right, now comes the reason why. I want to make sure I'm speaking here correctly. Okay. Yeah, there's a few other guys. There's a couple other guys. Oh, geez, there's one that's really bad, unfortunately. Okay, so the reason why I've been giving you the plus-minus is now here comes Frank Vatrano's numbers. 8 goals, 6 assists, 14 points, and he's a -5. So everybody else, the top 14 players, E2's a +1, Hornqvist was a +2, Montour was a +5, and everybody else is plus double digits. And here comes Frank Vatrano at -5. I'm going to give him a D-. I'm going to give him a D- because I think he could actually be worse than he's been. But he's been bad. He's been bad. He clearly understands, and this is kind of a surprise. But guys react to pressure and circumstances in a different way. Okay? He clearly understands the contract status that most likely he's the odd guy out. Okay. So that can have a tendency to affect somebody's play. At the same point, he's what? He's 27 years old. He scored 18 goals last year, and he's going to be a free agent at the end of this season. Now, a guy like that could have said, I'm playing for what's probably going to be my last opportunity at a nice payday. Some guys will turn that into playing hard for a contract, right? But Toronto ain't that guy. Toronto's just not. He's just not. It's. I hate to see it because he's been a fun, big part of the team in the past. But if ever a guy needed a fresh start and a change of scenery, it's Frank for Toronto. So, next on the list, I gotta get a drink before. I need an alcoholic drink before this one. Owen Tippett, 6 goals, 8 assists, 14 points. He's a +3. Average ice time of 12 minutes and 39 seconds. Now that I look at those numbers, can I pass on this one? I gotta give Tippett a D+. The D is for the results. The plus is for the effort. You can't fault the kid's effort. He's out there trying. You cannot fault the kid's effort. And he's got to be wondering what the hell happened to him, right? He didn't get drafted in the first round by sucking. He's had talent. He's had success, right? And last year he came in, and as soon as he got top 6 minutes, it looked like we were looking at a kid that was going to come up, 15, 20 goals, maybe 45, 50 points, be a good addition, solidify that top 6, and it's just not happened. 6 goals. How many almosts does he have? Am I exaggerating to say he could easily have another 6 goals if it doesn't hit the post or it doesn't miss and dribble by the net by an inch? I think that's fair, right? Who else? You look. Sam Bennett has 9 goals. Tippett has 6. The point being, Tippett's at least hit the post enough to have more goals than Sam Bennett. But I'm sure Bennett has hit the post. Tippett and for Toronto, it's interesting. They're number 15 and number 16. And they probably both could use a change of scenery. Absolutely. I hate to give up on Tippett because he is a first-round guy. And with just a little bit of puck luck, just even a small amount of puck luck, he'd have 12, 13 goals this year. And, the conversation would be a little bit different. We'll see how it goes. He's had a couple of goals in the last 4 games. He had the one beautiful shot the other night, called back on the offsides. Trade deadline, he's probably going to have, at least, 10 games more before any final trade deadline decisions are made. But, if Arizona says we want Tippett as part of the deal for Chyprin, it's a no-brainer, unfortunately. Next on the list is Ryan Lombard. 4 goals, 7 assists, +11 with a time on ice of 11:48. Lombard's been solid. We're going to give him a solid B. He's playing his game. He's doing exactly what we expect him to do. He has not been over. I almost get the sense like Lombard's just kind of cruising, just kind of coasting, and then expects to pick up his game as the games get harder later on in the season and in the playoffs. And I'm fine with that. Absolutely fine with that if that's how things are going. And look, there's a reason why the games late in the season get more intense and the playoffs are more intense, because players raise their level of play. And I think Lombard's going to be one of those guys that does that. All right. we're getting lower on the list here, guys. So now we got Radko Gudas with somehow no goals and 11 assists, and he's a plus 23. An average ice time of 18:42. Gudas has been, I'm going to give him an A. For what we want Radko Gudas to do, I think he's done it to perfection. I can't say anything bad about the guy. You know what I mean? I mean, no defenseman is perfect, right? Everybody gets beat every once in a while. But I can't really remember a time this season where I said, damn, Gudas was out of position. I mean, maybe it happened once and I missed it. But the dude is just straight, consistent, does exactly what his job is, and we need him on this team. All right, Maxon Mammon, 5 goals, 4 assists, average ice time of 12 minutes and 10 seconds. I like Mammon. He can't stay healthy. We had him before. He looked like he had potential. Then he went, I guess, to the KHL, and then we got him back. In the first few games, didn't look so good. Then he really started to look good. Then he kind of tailed off a little bit, and then he got hurt. We'll just give him an incomplete, really. I can't get a gauge on this guy. He looks like he has the potential to be like, I mean, on somebody else's team, he'd probably be, penciled in, at somewhere on the third line. But on this team, there's just so much talent that, it's easy to write him out of the lineup. But I don't want to trade him away. I definitely do not want to trade him away, because a guy like that could come in handy come playoff time. Somebody gets hurt and you need to pop in a guy who has some skill that won't hurt you for a few games. Mammon's the perfect fit there. Then we got Lucas Carlson. He's played 25 games, so 2 goals, 6 assists, average ice time of 12:38. Carlson, again, is a guy I can't quite get a read on. He's been inconsistent. He hasn't been bad. He hasn't been good. The last game he was in before they put Prisky in, he didn't have a good game. I wasn't thrilled with his game, and then they put Prisky in. I wouldn't mind going into the playoffs with him as 8D. 7D might be pushing it. But he's a guy that, as long as he doesn't try to do too much offensively, I think he's not going to kill you. I mean, let's face it, when you start getting down to 7, 8, and 9D, it's not the same caliber of player. I think he's shown enough. We'll give him a B. I think he's shown enough to have some continued investment. All right, real quick, we're going to get to a few more here. Apparently, there's a few more. We don't need to do everybody's. I got to get into the goalies and stuff. Joe Thornton. This pains me, guys. Somehow, in the 24 games, he's got 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 points. Somehow, he's a -9. I'm going to give Joe I'm just going to give him a pass. I'm just going to give him a pass. Like, you already passed the test. You don't need a grade. We know why he's here. He's here to win a cup. If he wants his name on the cup, he's got to get into 1 playoff game. And then hopefully he retires with the cup. That's all I can say. After that, I think let's yeah. Well, the last player that I want to talk about is Ulevy. No goals, no assists, but I do want to talk a little bit about him. That's a guy, again, that I would like to continue to see develop, but at the same time, the knock on him was he can't stay healthy, and where is he now? Hurt. Certainly, if somebody wants him included in a deal for a better defenseman, right out the door he goes. I do not want to go into the playoffs with Carlson and Ulevy as our 7 and 8D. That's a big fat no. That's a disaster waiting to happen. One of those two guys is probably not going to have to. We're going to have to pick up, a Connaughton type of player to fill one of those gaps. You've got to have experienced guys at your depth in the playoffs. At least one extra guy. All right, the goaltending. We'll do Bobrovsky first. Where's his statistics? I see. We're giving him, that's just the scoring statistics. Okay. Sergei Bobrovsky. He is 23-4 with 3 overtime losses. He has a .920 save percentage and a 2.56 goals against. What do you want to give him, huh? Well, if you're comparing his play this season to last year, and then comparing him to Vezina Bob, I'm going to give him an A-. Going to give him an A-. The 5-hole is still is not as big of an issue, but it is still an issue. Interesting thing there. Remember, like the first couple weeks of the season, he was making sure that paddle was down, and then suddenly that stopped. Now I don't know why that stopped, because the first few weeks of the season we thought, geez, this is really Vezina Bob. And then some of the old habits have kind of crept a little bit back in. Not terrible, but I think this break will do him good. Get him fresh, get him rested, let him watch some film. He's been obviously good enough for us to win. He's going to need to play better if we're going to beat guys like Shesterkin in the playoffs, Vasilevsky in the playoffs. You see what I'm saying? He's going to need to be a little bit better, and goalies will raise their level of play just like players. So I'm going to give him an A- because of the 5-hole thing. But the main thing that he has cut down on significantly is when you can see it. When it's either the second goal or the third goal. It's been the second more often, but every once in a while it's been the third. You could see him be just like Vasilevsky and be like, nope, that's it. There ain't nothing else getting through. And it's going to take a wicked miracle shot to get something past him. So he has found that switch to be able to raise his level of play like Vasilevsky does, to where, okay, we got 2 on him and all of a sudden nothing else is going to get through. So do I think he's playing well enough to win us a cup? I think if we can fix Ekblad and Wieger, yes. But I think the combination of Ekblad and Wieger with, Bobrovsky not quite being Vasilevsky level, I think that combination could cost us a Game 7 double overtime, heartbreak, vomit, wrench-inducing. We just need to be a little bit better there. All right, last player before I get to the coaching is Spencer Knight. 15 games, 9-6 with 2 overtime losses, a save percentage of .898 and a goals against of .322. All right, now we're gonna give Knight anything, C+ or a B-. I'll let you guys pick. He did not start off the season like the Spencer Knight that we've seen. He did not have the confidence level that we saw last year. He's done much better recently. He's done significantly better. Now the last game wasn't great, wasn't bad either. His biggest problem is the puck handling behind the net is awful. As in, just stay in the net, Spencer. That is the part of his game that's the part where you say he should be in the AHL working on that, getting 3 games a week. But the cap being what it is, situation being what it is, we can't do that, right? We're not gonna have. Drieger got what, 3.5, so we could maybe afford a backup. a more experienced backup, but we're going to have to send salary somewhere on the way out, right? Okay? So do you really want to roll that dice? But I guess the point there is that, because I've seen some people talk about we need an experienced goaltender for the playoffs. And I don't necessarily disagree, but is there going to be a guy available? If something happens to Bobrovsky in the middle of the second round and he's done, is there going to be a guy available that you feel can take us the rest of the way, or just leave Spencer Knight in and see what happens? That's the biggest thing, is that, is there really going to be a backup guy that's going to come in that's available, that if something happened to Bobrovsky in the playoffs, where we said, okay, no problem, we're good, we still got this? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure about that. So I think we're going to go ahead and give him a B minus, because he's still a young kid. He has been working on his game. He's improved. And he's, he's still, what was it, 9-6. He's still winning games for us. Yeah. So that's enough said about that at this point in the season. If he can fix his puck handling skills, I think he could significantly lower that goals against, because now it's starting to cost us. All right, last thing is the coaching situation. I just say it right now. We all know the journey that we took to get here, but at this point, I'm 100% comfortable with them taking that interim tag off of Brunette and give the man a contract. I don't see anything happening other than maybe a massive collapse or not winning the first round, where the team would say we're going to get rid of Brunette and hire another guy. What the improvement I've seen in Brunette from when he first took over to now tells me I'm good. Give him a 3-year deal. Give him a 3-year deal. We already know the retread coaches that are out there don't want anything to do with them. The team is leading the league in points. The players love him. He's been here on the team already. There's no reason to make a change. There is absolutely no reason to make a change. Give him a contract. That's my opinion. Give him a 3-year deal. End that whole discussion about, end any question marks. It'd be a beautiful thing to do during the break. He's the all-star coach. Come on. That'd be a nice story. They should have just done it on the day, sign a new contract the day he's coaching the all-star team. I'd be good with that. All right, so we're going to give Brunette, I'm going to give Brunette, honestly, an A. I almost want to give him an A+. I really almost want to give him an A+ because of the situation he took over. I mean, I can sit here and bitch, and people can, we can sit back here safely and bitch and complain about it. But just think about when it all went down with Q. I mean, he's got to talk to these kids, talk to these players who had relationships with Q that, I'm sure there were guys that were supporting Q and guys that were not supporting Q. And Brunette kind of had to make sure to get everybody on the same page as a Panther. I think from that perspective, you got to give the guy an A+. He's really done a magnificent job there. Now, the team overall as a whole, you want to give them a grade? Let's give them a grade. I don't know. I mean, we're leading the league in points. Carolina has like 1 million games in hand on us. I'm going to give them an A-. I'm going to give them right now an A-. Where's the minus coming from? Ekblad and Wieger. And I know we're scoring like wild banshees. I've said this the last few videos with Stu. Somebody's got to take that top line spot and make it theirs. Somebody. Please. It's a damn shame it can't be Owen Tippett, because we could sign him to a contract cheap, but it don't look like it's going to be Tippett. It's not going to be any of the players on line 2 or line 3, because those lines are so good that you really want to keep those guys together. Somebody's got to claim that spot. I've said it, where I think the move is to get maybe a Heurel type defenseman, Ekblad, Forsling, Wieger with whoever we get. Wieger with Gudis, Montour with the defenseman that we pick up, depending on who it is. The point being, we could get Heurel and a winger, an experienced winger, for the same price as Chychrun. So it's something to think about, because I really believe that especially for Verhagen to have the success that we really need him to have, we need to have some chemistry on that top line. And yes, you can throw Heurel out there. Yes, you can throw Duclair up there. Yeah, you could even throw Marchman up there. But then that blows up the other 2 lines that we don't want to blow up. So we'll give them A-. For the love of God, fix that Ekblad and Wieger. Either sit them down and I don't know, make Wieger skate so dull he has no choice but to stay in the zone. For me, honestly, my idea to save them, to have them save energy, is that they just sit down and they just play every other game. They play, if you're going to keep them as a pair, the point is, you say, all right, today is Ekblad's day to be the offensive superstar. Wieger, you stay back. And then the next game, it's Wieger's game to go try to be Bobby Orr, and Ekblad stays back. It's the only way it's going to get solved. But the coaches somehow turned Mike Matheson in Pittsburgh into a defenseman that the fans were content with. If a coach can take Mike Matheson and do that, these coaches can get into Ekblad and Wieger's head and figure out what is going on. Because that's the biggest gap we have, is the problems on that top pair as a pairing. And then you're depending on Bobrovsky to be Superman, and 7 or 8 times out of 10 he's Superman, right? But in the playoffs, Vasilevsky is going to be Superman 9 or 10 out of 10 times. And that can be the difference completely between a cup and a disappointment. So let's get it right. All right, that was it. That was long enough. I hope you guys appreciate it. This was kind of a spur of the moment thing. I've been thinking about doing it, and then there's just no games. I don't know what the hell to do with myself with no games. So it's definitely, I'm going to be live streaming the All-Star game tomorrow. I do not know about what I'm going to be doing tonight. I know I'll be able to watch the skills competition, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get set up for a stream and all of that in advance. So if I don't stream the skills competition, I believe Stu and I will be out with a video tomorrow talking about that and maybe some other Panther things. But then I'm also definitely going to be live streaming the game tomorrow. And then after that, we got some other interesting content coming up. A couple of last thing, I mean, for anybody still watching, a couple people had asked if I was going to be doing anything about the Brady's retirement or the situation with the Dolphins. I think I'm just going to write an article. I'm going to write a post article for the community about Brady, because I'm really not sure what I can add to the discussion. But so I think I'll write something. I feel like I want to write that out. In terms of what the Dolphins are going through right now, I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want anything to do with it. To be honest with you, I continue to be surprised on a daily basis by what people consider to be a political comment. So rather than try to walk a line where I think I'm just making a joke and somebody takes it as a political comment, I just don't want anything to do with it. I don't want anything to do. I don't want anything to do with it. If it was going on with the Panthers, I would address it. But being that it's the Dolphins, it's a mess. It's a mess, and you're pretty much guaranteed that whatever content I come out with it now, half of the facts are going to change. You see what I'm saying? So, all right. I appreciate everybody's support. If I don't see you tonight, I will see you guys again tomorrow.